Coming up on the show, I'll break down the matchup of this upcoming week, and I'll talk to Laura Clesseof of the Women's Club Rugby Team. This is Bona Sports Weekly. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Zach Warren, and here's what the week ahead looks like for Bonaventure Sports. After a week off, the men's and women's cross-country teams will make a short trip up to Rochester, New York to compete in the Harry F. Anderson Invitational hosted by Roberts Wesleyan College. The meet will feature 30 teams from around New York State and will take place Saturday, September 27th. Host Robert Wesleyan may be in Division II, but that doesn't mean they are a team to be taken lightly. The men's team was ranked 5th in Division II East Region by the NCAA at the beginning of the season. So far, they've been led by a group of 7 freshmen who have pushed the team to 1 first-place finish and 1 second-place finish. The Bonaventure's women's team will hope to continue their strong season with the help of junior Carrie Carr, whose 2 first-place finishes and 1 seventh-place finish have earned her top A10 honors twice this season. The golf team is set for a big week when they travel to Niagara Falls Country Club for the 61st Little 3 Championship, which will also feature Niagara and Canisius. Last year, the Bonnies ended a 3-year streak in which Canisius won the championship. St. Bonaventure will look to retain their title, led by junior Josh Stauffer and 2-time A10 Rookie of the Week, Corey Long. Dominique Mortier will look to keep improving on her season this weekend after going 2-2 at the Navy Invite. Her and the rest of the Bonaventure women's tennis team will be at the West Point Invitational starting Friday, September 26th. The invite will also include A10 rival UMass. The men's soccer team will not get the opportunity to compete for the Big Four Shield against Canisius this Friday as they had previously hoped. The only team who has yet to compete for the trophy in its inaugural season is the Golden Griffs, who won't play current Shield holders Niagara until November 5th. That doesn't mean the Bonnies will be taking it easy against their longtime rivals. The Griffs are in the middle of a 4-game winning streak and are currently 4-2. St. Bonaventure is still looking for its first victory of the year. The spotlight is going to be on the forwards as Bonaventure still has yet to score a goal in the regular season. That game will start at 5 p.m. at Canisius. Okay, I'm sitting here with Laura Clesseof, senior back for the women's rugby team. Laura, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So the team has been extremely dominant this year. You guys didn't allow a try in your first 2 games, correct?
Correct.
And you just beat Fredonia, which was your first D2 team. What does that mean? You get your first D2.
Well, first to begin with, it's really interesting because last year we didn't score at all. Like, we didn't score a single try last year.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know. So it's a huge difference. Then this year, in the spring last year, we really focused on getting a game plan together, different types of defense and offense, like how we were going to approach this year. And we started executing it this year, and obviously through scores and how we're working offensively and defensively, we're doing quite well. So, like, when you say against D2, for us, we were nervous because we had just been playing all these teams and we've been, like, killing them, and we were all very excited. But as soon as we were doing warm-ups for the game against Fredonia, and our coaches are like, guys, get intense. What are you doing? And we're just kind of looking at them. We're like, we're really nervous. Like, what do you want from us? But then as soon as we went out, we had, like, good hits, and we were just like, all right, we got this.
So D2, then, you guys play in D2?
We play, like, D3.
Okay. So this was a big deal being Fredonia because they were a division up from you guys.
Yes.
And so you mentioned you worked on a lot of offense. What specifically have you guys done to try and improve the offense this year?
Well, in rugby, we're split up in backs and forwards are more of the bigger, tougher girls, and I mean that in a polite way, and then the backs are usually, like, fast. And so the way that our offense works is we get the forwards, have the ball, and they do a slow ball where they ruck over, and they just keep moving us forward, and then if we get to a certain distance, then we pull it out to the backs, which is like the fast back line, and we try to run the ball all the way to the side so we can get a breakaway.
that's a big step going from not scoring at all last year to you had a team that I think you mentioned before the interview, you had a team forfeit
Yeah.
in the middle of the game because you were beating them so bad.
Yes.
What,
That was Geneseo, I believe. 49-0.
49-0, and
Yes.
they stopped in the middle of the game
Yes.
because
So
they
they were
didn't want to
like,
play anymore.
exactly.
I mean, that's unbelievable. What about the defense? Not allowing any tries in the first two games. And then only allowing 10 points against a higher ranked opponent. The defense has been unreal. What's been the key to that?
Just a lot of communication, and like I was talking about before, we have a whole new style to how we do defense. We line up correctly, and we're always communicating. If someone's down, you get into their spot. Sometimes you have to take on two girls at once, and even if you can't take them down, you slow them down till you get your teammates to come help you.
So, is there a different feel, I guess, to the team this year? Do you guys feel the confidence
Yes.
that you're showing on the field?
Absolutely. We had trust in each other last year, but I think it just like we got so down on ourselves because we kept losing, and we just didn't mesh for some reason. And now this year with like we practice certain things all the time, and it's just we communicate, so we trust each other, and with the trust you just know your teammate's going to be there. So
that trust, has it sort of just developed from being together for so long, or does something specific happen where you're starting to trust each other a lot more?
I think it was. I mean, we've been together for a long time, but we have like this big trust in each other now because we just want to succeed so well, or so much. And with the trust, I think, comes from knowing what we're doing on the field. Like before, we didn't know what the hell we were doing because we were just like, oh, just move the ball around. And now we have like stages and phases that we go through. So by each of us knowing our own specific jobs and practicing those, we can start to have trust in each other because we're like, hey, you know what you're doing. And they're like, well, you know what you're doing. So let's all do this together.
So if anything, maybe that last year where you struggled so much offensively
Yes.
has been a really positive thing for
Yeah.
the team this year.
Yes.
It's kind of an old question at this point. It's been beaten into a lot of the teams this year, but it's still worth talking about. New turf. You guys played on that backfield. It's been grass, it's been muddy, and now you're playing on this brand new turf. What's that been like?
It's such a difference with playing. Yeah, like I guess it kind of hurts more when you fall, but it's so different from playing on the grass because when you're playing in the grass, and I've mentioned this before, like you're getting mud everywhere. You can't get traction, so you can't like do hard cuts when you need to, which is like that could be dire to the game. So now that we're on the turf, it's also kind of weird because you're like wet and sweaty, but you're not muddy, and you still have ground to like get traction on. So even if it's downpouring, which it has been for a couple of our games, it's still the only downfall we have is when the ball gets wet. Other than that, there's nothing. The field is just fantastic for our gameplay.
One of the things that is really remarkable about both the rugby teams here is the amount of alumni support. Obviously, especially for a club team, you expect to see it for teams like the basketball teams where, it's the moneymaker, but you see a lot of alumni support coming in for both the rugby teams. How important is that to the club?
For us, we have alumni support, but we're trying to work on getting a wider base because the men, they just have like alumni being like, here, we're here for support here, money there, all this. And that's why for the women in the past couple years, it's been difficult for us to get the money we need to do. Like my freshman year, which was 3 years ago, we had a hard time gathering money to go to nationals because we needed busing and all of this. But now all those women have graduated. They can't provide us with money right now because obviously they're students that just graduated, but they have the heart and they just are always supporting us. And like even things on social media, they'll just tweet something or post something on Facebook and it reaches all these other people. So then everyone is like, oh, there's this women's team at St. Bonaventure and they're doing all these great things and doing well. And it's just the greatest thing I hope that our alumni do is to broaden our program.
You almost spilled your coffee.
I did.
So you mentioned that you're trying to expand your base. How are you doing that?
Well, we are trying to do more with our social media, which is not so great right now, but we're trying to keep updates going through Twitter, and we're trying to expand by talking to other people. We're actually, this is in the midst of possibly happening. We're going to do a type of high school club or high school college like camp day, and we're going to do it on one of the weekends, get kids to come down, teach them how to do rugby and stuff like that. And it's not even just for the sport itself, but it's also for women being like, oh, I can play a sport that's just as tough as what men play, because in rugby, men and women's, the rules are exactly the same. So it's just a very different sport to have people come in and play.
That's a good lead into my next question. Rugby, very, very physical game. You don't wear much padding, if any. Do you wear any padding?
You could wear scrum cap, which is a type of, it's not a helmet per se, it's just padding that you put over your head, and it helps with concussions and when you go in the scrum, so it doesn't move your ears, so you don't cauliflower ear. But pretty much all we wear are cleats and a mouth guard.
Does that make you nervous going into such a physical sport, especially after we've had students here at Bonaventure leave because of head injuries?
Yes.
Does that make you nervous at all when you play this, and now you're on the turf where the surface isn't as forgiving?
It's nerve-wracking, and I know for girls that just started this year, they're like, this is ridiculous that we're just playing with a mouth guard. And the thing I believe that when you're playing and you only have a mouth guard, you have to give it 100%, because if you're only doing 75% going into a tackle, you're more likely to get hurt because you're not giving it all. So if like you're being all hesitant, then they're going to hit you harder. But if you know how to, the thing about rugby is you learn how to tackle, but you also learn how to be tackled, so you don't hurt yourself. And that's why, and the whole concussion testing that we've been doing is really great for like cross country. It's just, I love that the awareness of concussions is getting out there.
Yeah. Is there sort of an anti-culture against head protection? You said that you can wear this scrum cap, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people do. Is there sort of this, trying to be tough and not, do you get that sense at all?
I mean, I guess maybe, but I think it's more, the scrum caps are really, really uncomfortable. You put them on, you get all hot, and it's just, and it goes right around your neck, and it's very constricting. And that's what, I don't know, it's just, I mean, I guess if you put it on, you're going to have more of that confidence, because you're just like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and it's fine. But I don't prefer wearing them, and I don't.
So you're saying it's more of like a comfort thing than it is trying to be tough.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Is it difficult being on a club sports team and not getting a lot of the benefits that some of the varsity teams get?
Yes. And it's not even the benefits of like money-wise, it's like the student body support, if that makes sense. Like for the women's team, we get supporters. For the men's team, they get more supporters. But compared to like the varsity sports, they get all this help from the school. They get all these, they get like promotions for it and all this, and we're just there. And it's really hard because, and I don't want to be like, oh, well, we practice just as much, but we practice every day for 2 hours, and then we play hard games, and I don't know.
Well, that's kind of my next question too, is that, I mean, you're still a student, and you're not getting a scholarship to come play club rugby. Is it difficult? And, varsity athletes, they get all sorts of academic help. They have a study hall period. They have advisors there just to help athletes. Is it difficult, especially putting yourself at the risk of injury every week with practice, trying to balance practice out with your schedule? Is it difficult on you academically?
I think it just creates a lot more stress because we just have to, obviously, when people are here for like varsity sports, they're like, I'm here because have all these scholarships to play, and obviously they love the sport, but it makes it a little bit easier on the academic level because you have that security that someone's going to be there to help you when you need it. For us, it's like we're playing a sport, but we just have to figure out everything on our own. I mean, we can go find people to help us, but it's just like that one more thing that we have to do that we don't get, I guess.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Why, out of everything you could have done at this school, why did you choose to play rugby?
Funny, the first week I was at school, I was going to play club soccer, and I went and talked to some of the girls, and they're just like, oh, we're not very competitive. Like, we do it for fun. And I've just always been that person that I need like a regimented schedule. And they're like, we only practice 3 days a week. I'm like, I need something. I like doing things every day. So I I don't know. I decided I was like, rugby shall be fun. Like I've loved football, not that I should compare the two, but I'm just like I need contact. I want to get people.
So, did you, coming out of high school, you didn't see yourself playing any sort of rugby when you came in?
When I was in high school, I thought that I had missed an opportunity to play rugby. I had watched some games and I was like, this would have been something I would have absolutely loved. And then when I got to St. Bonaventure and a friend of mine was friends with the captain, she introduced me and they asked me to do like a run or something. They're like, oh, well, you would be a great asset. So I was like, all right. So then I did it and it's just it's my passion. I love it.
The team has taken a lot of strides since last year. And it's
Yes.
already, it's early, but it's very evident now how much the team has moved on since last year.
Yes.
What are your team goals?
Our team goals are to just make sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves and thinking, yes, we're doing really well, but let's not let that go to our head. And our coaches, who are two players on the men's team, and our other coach, her name is Laura Clesseof. She's a grad student here. She's there. Our advisor is Shrems. But the two men on the men's rugby team that coach us are Luis Carpio and John Hines. And they have just always, they talk to us being like, don't let this, we practice 100% all the time. We always need to be focused because if you lose that focus, your mentality is going to destroy what you can physically do on the field.
You mentioned before the interview the team's thinking nationals this year.
Yes.
Is that a conceivable goal?
Yes. We're very, very excited, and we don't want to, it's funny because we don't like talk about it too much because we don't want to jinx it.
Right.
But we get really excited, and we just hope that we can get there, and this will all happen this semester if we go to nationals or not. But our goal is to get there, and I think the best way for us to get there is obviously keep doing what we're doing physically, but the mentality that we must keep is that what we always say after every try, it's still 0-0. Like, we need to play like it's 0-0.
What about you? Do you have any personal goals on the pitch this year?
My personal goal is to just make sure that I can direct other people and they direct me. So I think one of my main concerns is to execute what I need to do to help my team. I mean, obviously everyone's like, oh, the glory of scoring. Well, yeah, that's great, but there's no way that you can score without your other teammates. Like, it's impossible. I mean, I guess you could run back from try to try, but that's not really happening.
Right.
So my goal is just to make sure that I'm the best teammate I can be.
When's your next game?
It is this Saturday at 1, and we are playing Oswego because of something that happened with St. John Fisher because they don't have enough people. It's chaotic, but we have a game at 1.
So will it be an official game, or is it just an exhibition?
It'll be like an exhibition, but
Okay.
they are also a division ahead of us.
Oh, so another big test for you
Yes.
guys. That's very exciting. You mentioned a lot earlier trying to build your base, donations. Is there anywhere that anybody listening can go to help out the women's club rugby team?
We did a campaign kind of last year about women's rugby fighting breast cancer, and we sold all these little decals, and you can like put them on your car. But we had a girl on our team a couple years ago, and her mother died of breast cancer, and it was just very, very hard for us all to be there, and because on rugby we're more than just a team, we're like a family, and it was just very hard for us. So we want donations, but sometimes it's not even to us. We're doing it to other people. But our personal donations we're trying to like sell things and trying to just get our name out there. We're still working on like all the logistics about how to do that. That's actually one of my goals for this semester, like my senior capstone, trying to do a lot of promotion for the team and trying to build it as a whole.
So is there anywhere that specifically that alumni or anybody interested could donate to the team or help them out?
If they contact Tracy Shrems, who's our advisor, they can do it through that, and because she has all these other fundraising things, and I think we mostly need help from our alumni because we have a lot. They just tend not to really like talk to us, and we have a sheet that we have from our team, and we don't use it, and it infuriates me. I'm like, just call them. It's fine. So it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm stumbling over my words because it's just we need the donations, but we're not exactly sure how to get them.
It's a frustrating situation.
Yes, it's very frustrating.
It's understandable. Well, Laura, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
And we'll be keeping track of where you guys go. Laura Clesseof, women's rugby team, senior back. Well, that's it for the show. Tune in next week for more SBU sports. But for now, I'm Zach Warren. Thank you for listening to Bona Sports Weekly. Have a fantastic week.